But yeah,
I've got to
so
say,
I-
this app is already way more stable than Horizons was when I was in there.
Oh, dude, fucking Horizon. Oh my
I-
god, everyone just needs to bite the bullet and just move to Neos.
It's 100% true. I did a stand-up show on Horizons last night, and they had to like create a new room because it was lagging too much because it got full. So then all these
Oh,
people
wow.
were sitting in the room, and we had moved to a different instance of it, and they were all just waiting for the show to start. And
Oh, no.
like, it was just a phantom room.
Oh no!
And then the second room
That's
filled
so
up with other
sad.
people, and they're like, sorry.
Oh,
Oh, no.
man, bummer. Man, I feel like in Neos, comedy could be completely revolutionized with all the props and all the
Yeah.
crazy stuff that happens in there. Like,
Oh, yeah.
imagine the things that you could pull off in there. Like, imagine
Oh.
like a Carrot Top like skit.
I was about
Like-
to say the Carrot Top of VR is what we need.
Yeah. Oh, totally, man. Totally. You could do unbelievable things in there.
Yeah,
I got
during
red hair,
your
but I
last
don't have steroids.
during your last podcast, Skiva, when I was in there, I actually went to their Patreon and backed
Oh,
Neos.
nice. Nice. Cool, dude. That's awesome. That is
Oh, yeah.
awesome. Yeah, their crypto went down a little bit, but it kind of went a little, I don't know, it's just kind of like, it's kind of all over the place right now. It went like up like a rocket from like 33 cents in NCR to like $9 and then dove back down a little bit. I think it's sitting at like 5 right now or something.
That's not
But
bad.
yeah. But from 33 cents, like, it's insane.
That's it. That is
It's
insane.
insane. Yeah.
I'm really interested to see where that all goes. That seems
Me
to be
too.
the
I
new
just-
like rush in VR is like crypto and NFT integration and things like that.
Yeah, for reals. I really hope those guys make it, man, because it's my favorite place to be. I just love hanging out in there.
It's
I have
awesome.
more fun in there than most games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I wanna
Yeah.
do another video on it soon. I haven't been on in a little bit.
hop in with me, man. Let's do some shit in there.
Dude, let's
Yeah,
do
we
it.
gotta take Wookie in there yet. He hasn't
I've
been
never
in there
been in
yet.
there yet.
Oh yeah, that's right, dude. You totally fucking bailed on us last time we went in there.
I did?
No,
Yeah, you're like I'm too good for you guys. I remember you saying that.
Good. I think you said that.
yeah, you remember? You were there.
Yeah, I wasn't even there, but I can feel that it was true.
Am I in a
You
coma?
came,
Did I
didn't you
stroke
come
out?
in?
What
You
is-
came in with us, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It was
that
like me,
Pac-Man's
you, and
birthday?
Justin, and,
Yeah, and-
was
and
Johnny in
Johnny.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
And
Yeah.
even Robert. Actually, Johnny wasn't in there. It was Robert. Yeah. And his
Oh,
wife.
okay, yeah. Yep. Oh,
I think I remember you guys talking about this, but I didn't even know what was going on.
It was a random
Oh.
night. Like, hey, who's around? And we just jumped in.
Oh,
Before I was
you
on
didn't
Twitter,
even
'cause
know?
that's pretty recent too.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
it was,
you weren't on Twitter. Oh,
It was like
that's
3
why you
days
missed the
after.
party.
Gotta get on that
podcast.
Twitter.
Yeah.
I just made one. I'm like, hey guys, you should check out
Dude,
this
Twitter is
tweets or-
everything, bro. It is the best networking tool on the planet right now.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
finally
it's
starting to
definitely-
use it more because I was so bad with it.
It's so good, man. Like, it's so great to like just be able to talk to anybody. Do you know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
kinda build
Had these little
relationships with
interactions.
people. But then those little interactions can turn into larger interactions and turn into
Yeah, exactly.
opportunities. You know, so it's good. I really like it.
That's very true.
Yeah.
You do it better than most people I know.
Well, thanks.
You're like the VR
Yeah.
Twitter king.
I yell on it a lot.
That was my first impression of you. Like, damn, he hates Facebook.
I
always
know. I really. People just need to know, man. You know, that's my main thing. Like,
We need more
Like, do
people
what you
shouting it in
will.
the space.
but yeah, for real. Because like, if you don't like something, it doesn't mean you have to abandon it. But you just have to make the company know you don't like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and there's room for improvement for the users
Yeah.
who are
You
going to
don't
be the
like
ones
their
using
CEO?
it.
How do you tell them that? Like, if
Yeah.
you tell them you don't like it, you
yell.
don't change it. Be like,
You-
I don't like
And you tag
Mickey
them with
Weird Pants.
crazy hashtags, and you get people stirred up, and you get a bunch of people yelling about it, and then things change. You know, if you just let things be, then a company will do whatever they know they can get away with. But if enough people yell,
I'm hoping that same logic works for YouTube. You see all the issues they're having with their copyright system right now?
No, what's going on?
They're getting called out like by everybody who's big on the platform because like I think it's because of Toei Animation started this, where they just started like blanket like copyright striking and taking down like anybody who used any anime footage, even if it was like transformative or like a review or something. They just copyright like whole channels. And this guy who had like 700 subs had like almost every video he had ever made taken down by Toei Animation.
Oh my
falsely.
God. No.
But it's because the appeal process is so broken. He literally did the math on stream and he's like, the only way I could get all of these reversed is if I spent like 60 years appealing every single video and going through the whole process for it. Because you have to take each one to court.
Oh, no way.
And that's why there's these companies who are just like making false copyright claims on everything because YouTube won't do anything about it.
Yeah. And then they get the revenue, any ad revenue and all that stuff. Absolutely. That's crazy, man. We need a competitor. YouTube needs a competitor bad.
It does. And then PewDiePie showed that there was a company who claimed ownership over a song that he wrote and produced and owned. And the name of the company literally had in parentheses, like, on behalf of PewDiePie. And they copyright struck his own video of that song and stole all the revenue of it. He's like, how can somebody copyright strike me on behalf of myself?
Oh my God.
Like, it's just blatantly illegal.
It's crazy because they have enough money to put enough manpower behind this to have actual people doing things, but they don't give a shit.
Yeah, they won't.
I don't care. Yeah. But we need competition. Competition is everything. It drives innovation. It makes things better all around. So we got to get some more competition going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I see hubris screenshots over here. What's that?
You guys ready to start this bad boy?
Oh yeah.
Are you doing a show in here or is this an after party?
Yeah. This is a show. We're gonna start.
Okay, so here's the deal. So last time I had no idea that I just stomped up on stage during a show. So I'm gonna hang out back here.
Fine.
No.
I'm just gonna listen. No, I don't want to like.
We're gonna start headbanging. It's fine.
Yeah, I demand headbanging.
Watching.
Well, so the camera when we go live is right above my second head here, right where my name
perfect.
is. So you gotta get in front of that.
In front of that headbang.
In front of that?
You can't
back
peek
up
right in front.
Yeah, I'm here to watch and hang out. Yeah, I don't want to like fucking steal anyone's shit. You know what I mean?
Pretty laid back.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, there he goes.
Oops.
Dude, this game. Wow. This is the best looking alpha game and the best feeling alpha game I have ever.
The
looks
underwater in it is amazing.
It is so good. It is
Which game is
so
this? I don't
good.
think I've tried it.
Hubris.
Oh, I've heard. Yeah, I've been
Holy
hearing really
shit.
good things.
It's so good.
I've got to get in on that.
So it's
Yeah, dude.
Saturday. We have these guys on at 7 a.m. Central, and then also Saturday we have the Runes Magus teams at 6 p.m. Central. So
Oh, I haven't.
I'm
seen
excited to try
anything
that
like
out.
that.
They just
Oh,
sent me a
wait.
code, I think.
Oh,
Nice.
they asked me if I wanted to play this, and I was like, "Oh, it's not really my kind of game." But thank you.
it's
But it
Oh,
looks
that's
amazing
exactly what I'm into.
on the
Gorgeous.
quest. It's insanely good, like
Wow,
detail and the atmosphere, and yeah.
cool.
So yeah, don't worry about butting in or anything, because I'm gonna say you're in the audience anyway, and all that fun stuff.
Okay,
You
all
have
right.
to. You have to represent.
Sit on my
Well, I
lap.
just feel I felt so messed up last time. I just thought we were all chilling, and then it ended up being your show, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I literally showed up at their show, walked up on stage, and was like, "Yo, I'm here."
That's hilarious.
It was an
Unutus.
accident.
Kidding, it's fine.
It was totally fun though, so it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was super
That's
fun.
awesome.
But
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, so we'll just
With
do the
the-
intro and start from there.
Just why, FYI, since the UI's messed up, don't click on anybody because I can't get rid of this panel
Yeah.
with the business.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the VR Verdict Podcast, episode 102, our weekly show where we talk about everything VR. I am PJ.
Wookie.
We're here talking to Mr. Obscure Nerd VR himself.
Yes. Glad to be here.
Thanks for
I don't
coming.
know if you meant to walk straight up to the camera, but it looked like you were doing an opening monologue.
I was sitting here the whole time.
Or
But
like all the way up there.
Yeah, I was
so you're
excited.
pointing-
I was excited for it. It was Conan-esque.
get ready.
Yeah.
Get
You're
ready.
You like you did the hand motions to me and then hand motions to Obscure here, and he was
I hope the camera saw it. Shout out to
You can hear
Skiva,
me
who's in our
laughing.
audience.
Hey, what's up, guys? You can hear me
Yes,
laughing
Eva.
a lot because the UI is broken and I can't mute myself. So I'm sure you'll hear me chuckling back here.
That's part of the immersion.
beautiful.
So anyway, yeah, thanks for joining us, man. It's good to have you. Why don't
Absolutely.
you tell us a little about yourself and how you got your name?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a stand-up comedian, and I've been a VR enthusiast, sort of creating content in various ways since like 2016 now. Yeah, recently I sort of kicked off my YouTube channel, Obscure Nerd VR, when I started doing VR stand-up comedy shows during the pandemic because there was no other way to do comedy. It was that or Zoom. And this beats Zoom by a 1,000 miles. I'll just say it. And the second I tried that, I knew like this is a whole new platform for comedy that really isn't being explored by, maybe a handful of people. And for comedy and all sorts of entertainment, where you're using the games as sort of a medium to create new stories and new bits and things like that. So I just became wrapped up in that and figuring out ways to create new moments of comedy or new moments of uncomfortableness that's enjoyable in VR. That's what I do.
I saw some of your stand-up clips a while back, but I was looking at some of your videos yesterday and today, and I love the one where you're on the soccer field and someone comes in and you're like, hey, well, this is awkward, and then you go into the other room
Yep.
and there's some VR sex going on. That's pretty good.
Immediately. I try to capture the real moments,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people sanitize VR, and one of the things that makes it interesting is how like diverse the community and those experiences are that you just sort of stumble into.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bring your kids into VR.
Yeah, I mean, don't bring your kids to VR chat at least.
Or the adults sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've had some interesting moments where I'll just go into VR chat and the whole video is like, I'm just going to go up and tell people that I'm a dentist and I was the toothbrush avatar. And you get like the most insane interactions.
People try to put you in their mouth. Or
Yeah, and people are like, take a look. Let's take a look at my molars. And I'm like, I don't think your avatar has the same molars as you do.
That's how real VR is, though.
It's true. And they're like, oh yeah, get up close. Tell me. It's funny because like, even if it's clear that you're doing like a bit or a character, people are just so easy to like roll along with it with the fun because it's so immersive that they just want to, it's like an infinite game of improv,
Yeah. Yeah. It was a little off topic, but just to show like anyone watching or listening the power of VR. There was a gentleman, his first time in the Spatial Ape app today, and his having audio issues, and he could hear everyone, but he couldn't talk. And just from being in VR, like you could see the frustration because this went on for like 20 minutes. So I was like trying to help him, and we finally got it working, and he was so thankful and everything. But it was just the best example of VR. Like I could tell what he was feeling without him saying anything. It was insane. So
I love that. Yeah, you see the hands throw. Go like
everyone's
point for a
Italian.
while and then go like this. It's like you could tell he just tried something that didn't work.
When you see their hands dangle down and they're like typing on the keyboard. Or trying to do
Yeah.
something.
He's Googling.
He's waking.
So in VR, like where do you do a lot of like some of the stand up and things like that? Like how can people find catch a show or
Yeah, so I do most of my shows with a company called Failed to Render Comedy. They've been running VR stand-up shows for like over a year now, mainly in alt space. So I think just because the event hosting tools in alt space are just sort of the easiest and most intuitive to work with for event planners, at least from what I've seen. But yeah, so I'm actually doing a show tomorrow, and I usually do it every Friday or every other Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. I had to do the dramatic point.
Specific time.
That's Pacific, like the
not
ocean.
specific?
Yeah,
Specifically.
it's specifically at 7 p.m. And but yesterday actually we just did the first show that I had done with them in Horizons in the beta right before it launched today, which was a really interesting experience. Mainly because it was just Horizons. It's so interesting because there were certain aspects that just felt a lot more visceral. I think they definitely put a lot of time into building the look of the platform and sort of the UI. And it was amazing until 15 or 16 people loaded into the map. And then it became like Block City, where like everyone was like digitizing and I was just teleporting. Right after I'm glad this happened after my set, but right when I finished my set, I got off stage and so I was like, great set. And then the whole game just froze and crashed my headset.
That's a VR mic drop.
Yeah, right.
Break
one
your
can
headset.
follow.
Gotta buy a new one.
Yeah.
It's meta.
I've seen that happen to people on stage too. They'll be in the middle of a joke and their head will just like go up and start spinning. And you're like, either this guy just disconnected or his neck is repeatedly breaking itself.
Yeah.
Somebody said Beetlejuice 3 times and he just went nuts.
Yeah. It's his trigger word in VR. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like the coolest thing about VR stand up is that, and this is what I found interesting in Horizons, because I think it was the first time a lot of these Horizons players had experienced it at all. And I do a lot of crowd work, which is why I love doing it in VR, because, you know, like let's say in alt space, someone will like make a portal to a different world in the middle of my set. I'd be like, you know, you're bombing when somebody's literally leaving to go to a different dimension in the middle of the joke. And like
You just
it just
show
creates
back
this
like-
visceral moment. Yeah.
No refunds, bitch.
Exactly. Like one time someone heckled me and they actually had a pretty funny joke. And my response is I just sat there and I said, yeah. And then they just disappeared. And I was like, I couldn't come up with a comeback. I just banned them. They're banned for life. It was funny. They can never come back. And it's just like these great little moments that everyone in the room can immediately connect to because you know that it's specific to what's happening in the environment you're in.
Think like a big squeaky hammer, hit him and ban him with it.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need fun
Just big
band
old
tools.
Squeak.
Yeah, like a throwing knife, a band knife. Someone's like way in the back. You just go, he's out.
Do you normally get a decent crowd in the space and kind of always rift off them then, or is there some nights where there's just like you and one guy and it's awkward?
It's usually a big crowd. Luckily, it's like an open world, and at least in alt space, they've been working with the alt space team for a long time. So it's like one of the promoted worlds on the main page.
Awesome.
So honestly, better than my live shows. You'll get like the capacity most of the time. I think the biggest show I did, there was over 100 people across several different instances where they had my avatar being projected to like 4 different clubs that were all full at the same time.
Definitely
It's
want to
pretty
catch
cool.
one of those. Yeah.
How often do you do them?
I usually do it like once a week, maybe once every other week now, just because I've been recording so much recently and just been busy.
It sounds like fun. I have not been all up on the original metaverse before the Metaswitch apps. I've only been in VR chat once, so that was it. I haven't been in Neos or anything like that. So.
Oh, Neos is really wild. I think that's going to be the next one that I really want to explore a lot. Just because like the developer tools, like I do 3D modeling, like just freelance and just for fun. And the first time I went to Neos, I saw like, oh, import model. And I was like, this can't be this easy. And I clicked on it, opened my folder right there. I clicked on my model and immediately it materialized in front of me with all the materials I made. I didn't have to do anything.
Awesome.
And you could, yeah, and like imagine what that can do for game development. Like, hey, want to take an inspection of the model we finished? You know, you can enlarge it, see what it looks like when you hold it. It's wild.
A simple thing, but like asset production. You know, we could be game designers and just bringing in all the 500 guns and you're like, nah, I hate that one, and just chuck it across the room and
Yeah, exactly.
win with shit.
You can have a yes or no pile. Like these are the ones we'll put in the game. These are the trash.
Yep, on separate continents, and it'd be fun. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. Like you mentioned Horizons, and I've been in there since they launched the alpha or beta or whatever it is. I've been in there like 3 times, and I haven't had any fun in there at all.
Yeah.
Like, that's rough.
It's
Oh, sorry.
what were you saying?
I was just gonna go the whole Facebook thing right there. One of the girls I work with doesn't know anything about VR. Like two people in my group out of the 3 of us who have VR headsets, so we talk about it sometimes. Had like no idea what we're talking about. Doesn't really care. And then the other day she started talking about that weird commercial with like the tiger eating the wildebeest thing, and she was just talking. I didn't know what she was talking about. She didn't know to call it Meta or Facebook or anything. She was just saying like, I like couldn't go to sleep after I watched this commercial for this thing, and she just kept doing along. She was like afraid, like, yeah, she was like, my kids were scared of it and everything. We watched this and we were just all looking at each other. We didn't even change the channel. We were so creeped out.
Yeah.
I was like, what was? And it turned out it was that. I'm like, oh yeah, run away from that. Sorry.
Yeah, run away. I don't know if it'll ever look like that. It's an ambitious, thought. But yeah, I think that commercial was like so like, it's trying to predict what it's going to be so far down the line that it is sort of foreign and scary. Where you're like, is this what they're doing now? It's like, no, it's not now.
We want to talk about what we're doing now. We want to talk about what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Kinda
Why
silly.
excite you about the products you can experience today when you could think about 20 years from now?
And get creeped out and lose a night's sleep because you have nightmares or whatever's going to happen to that poor family.
Exactly. And I have people, like I was just in a conversation today where someone was like, oh, I just don't think VR is there yet. And I was like, have you tried a VR headset? And they're like, well, I did like 5 years ago and it's not there yet. And I was like, you have no idea what you're talking about. And I think that's what a lot of people who haven't given it the chance to really see how far it's come so quickly are doing. And like, well, I look at the Meta thing and they say it's like a 10-year plan. So it's probably going to be that long before it's interesting. I'm like, don't listen to what Facebook wants you to think, you know?
Yeah. Big companies just don't know how to market. Facebook sometimes reminds me of Microsoft because I still have a Surface Pro 2 tablet from like 2015. Fucking love that thing. But then the marketing after that one, like that was the best one, I think. And the marketing came out and everyone's like, there's colorful thing. They're all in a row and they're colorful on the table and people are dancing in business clothes. And they didn't show you how cool the fucking tablet is. And it's like, now no one's going to buy it. And then I don't know if anybody ever bought Surface again. Like, you idiots. It feels just like that. Like nobody knows what the hell you're talking about with a wildebeest getting eaten by a tiger. And then you're just, fuck that shit.
Like, you'll get it. It's Ready Player One. I don't know. And like recently it happened on Twitter where there was like #1 on trending was like, this couple got married in the metaverse. Here's a peek at the future. And everyone saw that and immediately, even the article was talking about Facebook, like, oh yeah, this is what the metaverse is. And the app they got married in was built in like 1999. It was like one of these old Second Life era apps that has a VR port now. And
that's what it was, because my girlfriend showed me that, and it showed like against a photo of somebody getting married in Second Life 15 years ago, and it's like all this weirdly high res, like the themes didn't fit. It's like, everyone thinks that's the metaverse now.
Yeah, they're just describing like any avatar-based social app as being like, oh, that's Facebook's metaverse, and it's just confusing a lot of people.
That's gonna backfire.
Yeah, it's tough when it's like a term that was used synonymously for like everything in this space, and now all of a sudden, all these things that have been connecting themselves to the term metaverse and the concept of metaverse, are like everyone just thinks that we're Facebook now.
Yeah.
It's just confusing
Well,
everyone.
I think that's what Facebook wanted, but then it's like somebody saying our company's called Cars now. It's like, was that the vehicles or the movies? They're like, we're Cars.
Yeah. You're talking animated cars or what?
Cars. Matchbox.
So how'd you
Yeah.
originally like get into VR and all that? How'd you enter the space?
Yeah, so I was like a big in the Half-Life 2 modding days. That was my prime in my life in middle school. And I was a 3D modeler. I loved the modding community and like the whole idea of creating content that people can download and play and interact with each other and build a community around. And then honestly, it was 2015, 2016, I saw one of Nathy's videos, which was the first time I had seen modern VR. And immediately the next day, I was like, I'm ordering an HTC Vive and also a new computer so I can run that Vive. And I'm just getting in on this because it just looked so cool. Like I've always been into like immersive ways of playing games. There used to be this old thing called the Falcon. I don't know if anyone's heard of that.
I haven't seen that one.
It was a super obscure peripheral where it's basically like a force feedback like ball that was attached to like a bunch of like fiber netting type of things. So you could get attachments for it and like push your hand forward like on this like sort of fiber attachment, and it would stop when your hand in the game would touch things. So like you could move your hand around surfaces and feel it as it hit it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and like you could play shooter games and have like a gun attachment, and every time you shot, like in Half-Life 2, like the gun would give you recoil. And so
Holy shit.
it was like and this was in like 2009. And so the minute I saw VR, it like brought me back to when I had that. I was like obsessed with that thing, and I was like, this is going to be the next wave of like immersive, you know, ways to interact with just online experiences.
Awesome.
I've never heard of that.
I'll have to send a link. No one, I think I'm the only person who bought one, to be honest.
It's our fault.
Yeah, it's you.
Didn't know.
Yeah, and like I was even into like back when like 3D flat screening was a thing. I remember I was at like a conference where they put basically the red and blue glasses on, and it would like you'd play World of Warcraft, but it would be like in layers coming out at you.
Yeah.
And so I just saw this as the next evolution of that.
You gonna say something?
So that sounds like fun. Stereoscopic 3D, even if
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit
and
kind
it
of-
worked so well.
Yeah, I'm one of the few people that really like 3D movies that I know of. So my 3D TV, like, I was so convinced it was the future because I have like two sets of glasses, and you could play like an Xbox game, and you could play split screen on the entire screen, and each person that wore the different glasses would only see their screen.
the
It
split
fucking blew
phase
my
thing.
mind. I was like,
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
it never went anywhere. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with people? Like, this is the coolest thing.
I feel like if like local co-op had still remained as popular as it used to be, that would be like super implemented now for like competitive games.
I was thinking about getting that just because, like, girlfriend's parents were staying with us for a while before they were planning to relocate to like Tennessee or some stuff. And like, I got one nice TV in the living room, and that's all we had. I didn't want to bother them, but I wanted to play Xbox. And I heard about those, and I was like, man, I want to get one of those so I can have the glasses on and see the other phase. Everyone else sees the normal phase, and they can watch their thing. But I'll have the big headset on, and I'll have these weird glasses, and I'll be over in the corner like laughing at myself and talking to people that aren't in the room. Like, maybe I shouldn't do that with people.
See, that's a great idea. You never have to fight over the channel again. Everyone watches their own channel.
But I'd be
Yeah.
like, damn it, PJ. Like, you'd stick me with a sticky grenade or something, and they'd have to like,
Yeah.
kick me to get me to shut up. 'Cause I'd have to stay quiet.
We're trying to watch Schindler's List over here.
I'm,
Don't bring that movie up.
Yeah. Sore
I-
subject.
So this, I hope this doesn't make me sound bad, but keep in mind this story takes place when I was like 16. That
Don't
movie
do
was
it.
in the theaters, and I was so bored out of mind in high school. I was failing out of like our history class because the teacher was like 90 and just kind of drank all day. So for some extra credit, he made my best friend and I go to the movie, and I'm like, all right, sweet, some easy extra credit. And I roughly knew what the movie was about and all that, but I shouldn't be saying this, but you get to the part in the movie where like it shows all the kids hiding and stuff, and again I was 16, but it shows those kids jumping into the outhouse, and
Mhm.
I laughed.
Oh
And
no.
the theater was full of like older people that probably like lived through some of that, and like every single person in that theater like looked at me, and I felt like such an asshole, but it just kind of came out because
When you think about it, even though we probably didn't live near any Holocaust survivors, but being of the age where they knew that was going on when that stuff, and then
Yeah.
being sitting there like just being like horrified, like, oh my god, I remember hearing about this, and then there's this jackass laughing.
He's like,
Like, when
this is wild.
when the credits went up, like I never ran so fast in my life. Like I was just fucking out of there. I felt like
Get
such a
cane
dick.
shanked,
Yeah,
hit with a
Oh my
But-
gosh.
yeah. That's every time I hear that movie, that flashes back in my mind, and I hate myself. Sorry.
That's amazing.
He
That's
never
okay.
takes anything seriously.
I made the mistake of going to see Straight Out of Compton, like a block away from Compton, and I felt like there was going to be a fight breaking out any minute in there. Because they'd
Sounds
like
rough.
name a street or a neighborhood or something, and like half the people in the audience would be like, "Yeah, yeah," and they'd shout out the name of that street, and the other half would be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I'm like, "I need to get out of here. I'm in the middle of
Yeah.
like a conflict."
Yeah. Dangerous.
It was fun. That was interactive. Yeah,
You really felt like you got stabbed.
yeah, right. Well, that's how you feel in LA at all times. It's you're always only like one bad decision from being stabbed by a random guy on the street. It keeps it exciting.
Speaking of LA, we were talking to Skiva a little earlier, but you guys are both at a con with all kinds of awesome VR people. How'd that
Oh
go?
yeah, it was awesome. That was like the first convention I had gone to since starting my channel and doing all this. So it was really like nourishing. I needed that because like when you do like VR content, especially the kind of content I do where it's really sort of self-driven and a lot of it is just me. You sort of forget that there's this whole community around you that you're now a part of. And so going there and being able to talk to people, and a couple people like, oh yeah, I've seen your videos, or like we've interacted on Twitter. It was just like this whole new layer to it immediately where I was like, oh, I keep forgetting that I'm like actually a part of this larger ecosystem of really awesome people. And
Yeah.
like, just hanging out, like kicking it with Skiva and Alex from Between Realities was awesome. And, we got to meet like a bunch of awesome creators there. Went to the AR house, which is a cool place.
Yeah, I was a little jealous. I'm like, oh, that would have been so fun. You guys look like you're having a blast.
We were.
Justin and I think Johnny was there. They do a round table with us every month and hang out. And
Yeah, I got to
yeah.
meet both of them. They were awesome.
Awesome.
We were walking around the convention for a while.
Nice. Yeah, Adam Bombody was there. She's been here a couple of times, but yeah, she's a
Nice.
good time.
Yeah, it was cool. Got to meet like Fia and Thrill Seeker was there, which was awesome. They were all really cool people.
VR with Jasmine, she was awesome.
VR with Jasmine was sweet. Yeah, it's cool putting a face to it and being able to like, because in VR, the cool thing that we were talking about when we were there was it was like immediately when we saw each other, we were just having like the same sort of conversations we have in VR. It was like we had already hung out and,
Yeah.
knew each other and had this whole rapport in person because we basically did through like, Neos and VR chat and all these other mediums.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, which I remember like, with my old gaming friends who I'd meet on Halo or whatever, sometimes you'd meet them in person and it would just be really weird.
Yep.
It's like, we only ever just did like voice chat in game.
Yeah.
But the social aspect of this, you don't realize how connected you are to them until you meet them, and you're like, oh wow,
Get a better
yeah,
sense
we've already
of-
got this whole thing.
Yeah. Wookie and I mean, we've been gamers all our life, but through Xbox Live, we made a lot of friends, and even on the Dreamcast and Fantasy Star, way back in the day, we had a friend that we played that with for years. Finally, come like stay at our house for a week, and that was a little awkward at first. I'll give you that. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, in VR, like Wookie and I are brothers, and he lives down south. I live up in Wisconsin, and especially with the pandemic, we haven't visited each other for a while.
Yeah.
In VR, like we'll watch movies and shit. Like it just feels like I'm in the room with my brother, if you like it or not. But
Yeah. Same old business as usual.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, see, that's awesome. I love stories like that, or like long distance relationships. Like I have a friend who had to move away from his girlfriend he's been with for years, and like they'll have date nights in VR. They'll have date nights at the comedy club where they'll come see me and we'll all connect.
Awesome.
Like it's just, yeah, it's stuff that you would never be able to do, maybe more than once a year because of flights and stuff in the real world.
Yeah. And even with our podcast, like before we were in Spatial Ape, we were doing audio only, and it was fine. But we, after one show, we noticed how more dynamic, and you get the hand gestures and you get eye contact, and developers can bring like characters or weapons from their games in, and you can look at them, and it's amazing. So,
yeah, see, that's so cool. I love that whole aspect of it. Like it's making my dreams as a kid come true. Like when I was developing for Half-Life 2, I would have never thought that like I'd be able to hold, the models that I'm making and look at them up close and like, feel like I'm creating something that I can exist in,
Yeah, that's gotta feel awesome.
Yeah, like when I first got VR, I was doing a lot of theater acting, and I just for fun in Unity built myself like a virtual theater that looked like the real theater I performed in, so I could practice my blocking and stuff like on stage alone.
Nice.
And just like stuff like that is so interesting.
Yeah,
It's wild.
And before VR was a thing in my world, I have like three different scripts written for like stand up. I've always been like, let's go do it, go try it, and this and that. I never did, and I don't think I could use those scripts anymore because times have changed quite a bit. So
Yeah.
I've never done it, but feels like VR would be such a nice way to break into that kind of thing.
It is. And I actually know some people who got their start at VR open mics who are now doing like in-person shows because, they were afraid to take that first step of developing material live in front of people at like dive bars or whatever. But you can get in front of a bunch of avatars and try this stuff. And once they started getting laughs and things and realizing that people could connect to it, they were like, oh, like, now I know that this is the stuff that like can get a reaction, and they take it in the real world with a little bit more confidence behind it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If you're bombing and it get awkward or whatever, you can just take the headset off and there's
Blame
no
it on
running out
technical
of pub,
difficulties.
driving home, then shitting your pants, and then taking a shower crying. You just go shit your pants and take a shower crying.
Yeah, you get right into it.
Take out that whole commute.
Or you can do it while you're in the show.
I'm doing it right now. I mean,
Yeah, there you go.
Record in the bathroom.
Back to that
Better
point.
acoustics.
Yuck.
When we first got into VR, I caught a couple live shows. Like I saw Tenacious D play in Oculus, and I swear to like I go to a lot of I love music. I go to a lot of live shows when it's available. I literally after that Tenacious D show, I was feeling that dread because I live in Wisconsin. So any bigger shows, I have to normally drive like 2 hours to go see stuff. So I was like, the show ended, and that dread hit me. Like, now I gotta fucking drive home, and I'm like, shit, wait. And I just took the helmet or the mask off. I was like,
Yep.
oh my god. It was pretty epic. The first time you feel that.
It's amazing.
On one hand, you feel like you were there enough to have that trigger of like, crap, I got to get out of here and walk to the counter and buy a T-shirt.
Yep.
Not there. Weird.
Yeah, and there's no weirder feeling than like doing a really good VR stand-up set and then just being like, Oh, I'm alone in my room now.
Bet.
Like, it's
You're
just
probably
so-
amped up with energy and everything after a good.
But yeah, exactly. Like, all right, I'm ready to go. Let's go party, guys. Let's get out. Let's do the after party. And then you take your headset off. You're like, oh, I never left my couch.
Yeah.
So do you just are there like VR chat worlds where you can just go there and like break shit, or like do you play a game that like lets you get your aggression out or all your energy out after a show then?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like I usually go into Population 1 or Pavlov and I just shoot people. Virtually. It's not an admission.
Sounds perfect.
Sorry,
But
double
yeah,
tapped my
I love
headset on it,
Pavlov
and then
VR
come
gun
back and
games.
just shooting people.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pavlov's great.
It is.
It's awesome. The way that they imported all the Counter-Strike maps in there, like it just feels like going into Counter-Strike and being inside of
Yeah.
it.
I saw that video. You had a Pavlov video where you were playing the facility from GoldenEye, which Wookie and I, when we first got into VR, got into Pavlov, we played Facility for like hours because we loved
yeah.
GoldenEye so much. But yeah, that was a pretty fucking funny video.
That one was.
Oh, should I go first? Should I? And then you go in there and you're like, how do I reload my gun, guys? Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's funny. And every time I go back into Pavlov, I feel like I have to reteach myself how to do the basics of the game. I did recently a Halo Pavlov video where there was one. I was on a team with a guy, and he's like, "Okay, you got to defend us." I was like, "All right, how do I reload the pistol?" And he just goes, "Yep, we're doomed."
Shit. I remember. I don't think it was in that level, but one of the levels like picked up the light machine gun or chose it or just randomly got it in gun game or whatever. You just randomly get stuff, and I'm like shooting it all like this is great, and then I go to reload it, and you just don't know how to fucking reload it.
Yep.
At all.
I got into some trouble with the hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades community because I did not know how that game worked. And I did a video on it where sort of the point of my videos is like I really do just jump in without ever playing it before. Like I start the recording when I start my first play session.
Yep.
To show people like sort of a comedic but authentic look at like what's it like to just jump into this game without knowing anything about it and try to play around. Because I think that's how most people experience games,
Sometimes people shy away from games because they'd be like, I don't want to get into that. So,
Exactly. And but the hot dogs, horseshoes, and hands grenade community, I've learned, very passionate people. They did not like that I didn't understand the game.
Almost only really counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, but how does almost only count with hot dogs?
That's the question.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, well, it's like the gun mechanics in that, which people swear, which seems true to me that it has like the most realistic gun mechanics out of any of these like gun simulators. But as a result, I just could not for the life of me figure out how to reload some of these. I felt so stupid. I was like, am I doing this wrong? I put the thing in, I pulled the thing back.
Did you notice a lot of like, and there's nothing wrong with this, anyone listening or watching, but like those amped up gun enthusiast type peoples in that community more than anything else?
It definitely seems like that's more of the focus of that community is people who are really, really into like realistic gun simulation, who are just like gun people in real life, which is cool. I guess it just doesn't vibe with comedy as much.
Yeah. I was gonna say that crowd probably doesn't have the best sense of humor.
Yeah. Like someone commented, they're like, as someone who's been playing this for 4 years, this was painful for me. So it probably would be. I haven't been playing it for 4 years. I've done 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But usually people are really excited. Like I'll even do VR chat videos where people who were in the video will come and be like, I was in this. That's so cool. Like stuff like that, which I really love seeing.
Nice.
Last time
Yeah,
I was
the
in
only-
something like that, I got my ass kicked on Call of Duty. And then that guy must have been a YouTuber, and this is way back. Because I got like a notification somehow that, hey, you're in this. I don't know. He must have sent messages to like everybody in the thing. It's like, hey, you're in this film. I was like, what? So I kind of went there. I thought it was a spam ad for at first. I'm like, look in. I'm like, oh, that seems familiar. Oh, hey, that is me. And then he's just like kicking my ass. And I was like, You didn't have to send it
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
That's not nice.
Or like I had a cool moment in Orbis VR like that, where my Orbis VR video, which was one of my bigger videos in terms of like the views anyway, I just went in and like didn't know anything about it, was just going up to people and asking them to like help me, or just like having these weird interactions. And someone comments, they're like, "Oh, one of the guys you interacted with was like so and so, like whatever his username was. They're like, he's like the most famous like competitive Orbis player now, and that was the day that he joined." And it was just this little interaction of me being like, "Oh, I'm new to this. What do I do?" And he's like, "I don't know. I'm new too." And now people are finding it and being like, "This guy's the best in the game now."
I didn't know there was competitive Orbis. We only played it a few times, but
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a small community, but they're really dedicated to it.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why, but the only time I've seen like some live comedy in VR is Rem 5 Studio. They were doing some local stuff, bringing people in. They're from kind of my area, so I've visited their studio and things. But yeah, it
Oh,
was
cool.
really interesting because they had these. They weren't like VR enthusiasts, but they were comedians. And again, this was right when the pandemic hit, so they're like, "Well, what else are we gonna do?"
Yeah.
So they had a set of like 3 people, and it was really neat because they had like a 15-minute timer for each, and
That's cool.
they had some neat emotes set up that you could use without being obnoxious while they're doing their bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really neat experience, and I don't know if I just don't get reminded or see things, because I'd like to see more of that stuff. So I'm definitely gonna have to like tag you and like make sure I see notifications and stuff like that, because I really want to check it out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's like a really small audience that even knows that it's happening right now, which is why I think there's still so much room for growth for that kind of content. Because like 90% of the people I tell about this, even people who have been in the VR space for years, I'll be like, "Yeah, I do VR stand-up shows." I'm like, "What? I had no idea that existed." And it's just like getting people initially like acclimated to the concept of it, even,
Yeah. You load up your Quest and you see like all the content they're trying to get you to do, and they see like the stand-ups, and it's just like and it's fine. It's nice if you find a funny person to watch, where it's just live, actually like live, and they have like the little 3D camera there, and they're you can walk around behind them and the brick wall they have there. Like,
Yeah, see, that's pretty cool.
yeah, that's really neat. But I wish they'd put up like actual like in VR stuff and kind of promote that more than that.
And in my opinion, it works way better when you can see their avatar and they can see you, and everybody's in the same room together, and it's not that disconnected.
Yeah. It's just like the Meta movie. I don't know if you've talked to those guys.
I'm excited for that, actually. I haven't met them, but it looks like a really cool project.
Yeah. I did the
Cool.
experience once, and they were on the podcast, but like those actors, like you can do anything you want. And I was just, that one time I was in there, I was just this little flying robot. You don't talk, but you can like blink lights. So they were freaking interacting with me, making shit up off of me blinking some lights. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is awesome.
That's
I think
so
Skiva,
cool.
you did that. You guys did that too, right?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
so good. It was one of the best things I've ever done in VR. I mean, it was like literally,
Yeah.
I mean, they're real actors and really good actors at that, and they will take the story any direction that you want to take it. And
Yeah,
just
main
one of the most
character-
immersive things ever.
I really
main
need to message
character
them and get
guy-
in there.
Yeah. When I was watching or being in it, the main character guy, they're like, it's a protagonist, which you can't really tell if it's male or female by design, which is awesome. So they're wearing a mask, and they're like, they brought up like a backstory, like, why are you wearing that mask anyway? And the guy just like, no one knew he was going to say this, and he just said space herpes, and everyone fucking lost it. They lost it, but then they came back, and like that was the whole story from then on, and they instantly like wove that into the story. I was like, wow, that's insane.
Yeah, they must be really good improvers.
Yeah.
It seemed like it. Well, how big of a group can you do it? Can we all do it at once? Because we still have to go.
I would
So-
love that.
They have two different tickets, and Skiva, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have a main right now. They have one main character, the hero, and that's like a different ticket. You pay more for that,
Like $50 for that and 25
Yep.
for the.
and
Hero
then
one.
everyone else, which I think is like 16 people or so, can be the little robots. And then
Mhm.
you know you play a part in it as the robots, but the hero does all the actual like acting with the actors. But there's 3 actors in the one I was in. But when they were on the podcast, they were talking about doing like a co-op with 2 hero type stories. 'Cause
That's
he was
cool.
looking to get us in there.
Yeah, they were
And,
like, well,
you know-
we need to have 2 brothers in there. I'm like, okay, sure.
So I
Why
hope-
not?
Yeah, but they're doing
Yeah, I need
really
to message
well.
them.
Yeah.
I'd love to do a video on that. That just seems like so much
I,
possibilities for comedy.
So I don't know if it's proper etiquette, but anytime I do anything new, I record it. I don't stream it, but I record it just for my own self. And then
Mhm.
I'll ask, hey, do you mind if I share this type of thing? Because it was a movie and I didn't want to like leak anything or whatever. But I
Yeah.
recorded that, and I'm in their Discord and they were talking about, like a month later, like, remember that one dude said space herpes and something, and I clipped that out because I laughed my ass off. So I took a 5-minute clip out of my video, and I'm like, I hope you don't mind. I'll only share this here unless you tell me to do otherwise. But here's that moment, and they're like, "Holy fuck, that's awesome! Thank you," because it was just perfect. So
That's
you know.
amazing.
yeah, yeah, definitely try it out. It's a good time.
Yeah, I need to get in there ASAP.
I think they've won awards at a lot of the festivals. They've shown it off, and
I
a
said
lot
that
of
on Twitter recently, too.
yeah.
They
Oh, yeah.
won some awards at the Rain Dance Film Festival. 2
That's
awards, I believe.
huge.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
That just shows the possibility and like how much unexplored territory there is for entertainment. But like they're pretty much the first ones to do that, and already people are trying it and being like, this needs an award on like the biggest stage because this is just totally mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like imagine when we're creating like immersive VR films or theater experiences like 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's
gonna be crazy.
the Jason, the guy over the Meta movie, took me into an experience this past week. I'm bad with names, so I always feel like an ass. But it was a music event and it was in Neos, and it was awesome. There was just a person playing keyboard and a person dancing, and like the music, like they're playing the live music themselves and
Yeah.
acting, and I was like, this is freaking awesome. And it had this huge cave with water, and you could just run around in the space and listen and watch. It was just incredible.
That's so cool. I feel
Yeah.
like full body VR dance shows, that's going to be a whole thing.
Yeah.
I need to get in
I
on
could-
that.
That would be kind of neat, because especially something like you're saying there, PJ, because a few months back, maybe a year ago, girlfriend really likes that Always Sunny in Philadelphia show. And I guess one of the characters, his dad's in prison, and he comes out as gay to his dad by doing an interpretive dance.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there like enthralled by the dance because he's dancing with a chick, and I love like it's like Sigur Rós or something. I had the like randomly in my Google Play music library, is like the song they were playing. I love that freaking song. So I'm sitting there raptured. She thought I was just gonna sit there and think it's like with dumb, like
Yep.
meathead kind of thing. I'm just sitting there like, this is fucking fantastic. To see something like that in VR, like,
Oh,
I would watch that like twice.
Yeah, it was neat. It was about fungus. Oddly enough, they're like scientists, the musicians, and they had a whole chat afterwards, which was insane. But like their avatars were really intricate, and like they had different meshes. Maybe Skiva, you can explain it better, but they were like randomly changing color, like the fungi on them and stuff, and like the whole space was just like
Oh, wow.
transforming. I was just like, damn.
Mhm.
That
What you
sounds
can do in there
awesome.
with avatars and the worlds is just so next level. So next
Yeah.
level.
Oh yeah, I went into Neos for one of my videos where I just entered a world and there was this guy who's just like, "Do you want to see all of the things that my avatar can do?" I was like, "Yes, please, show me." And like he hit a button and like an animatronic turret came out of his back and like was like auto aiming at people's avatars and could actually shoot. he's like, "Oh, check it out! It has an extender," and then it like blasted forward and had like a twice as long like barrel, like all this crazy stuff that he had just built himself from scratch. He's like, "Yeah, look at all this cool stuff I just created for people to experience in here."
The amount of like
I
work
couldn't-
to put in that to get it to like auto target, you have to be, you have to write scripts and things to be aware of an avatar and aim and vector point. That's not
Yeah,
jump change. That's impressive.
yeah. This guy clearly was like a full-on developer, and
Walk around like Iron Man.
yeah, he literally was. He was like the furry Iron Man
Furry Iron Man.
because he was a furry.
That's awesome.
It was like a furry avatar, but covered in like slick black armor, and I was like, "This is sweet." I mean, this is just
Yeah.
cool. He's figuring out a way
Well-
to design his best life.
Yeah. Frickin' when Skiva took us in, I don't know where the fuck you got this thing, but he pulls out this little Mario 64 head. And I'm like, that's awesome. He's like, wait, it gets better. Because I'm like, just having the head is pretty cool. And in there you can resize everything. But for some reason, you throw the Mario head and he makes the sound. Like, and then he comes back like a boomerang. And you can like throw it and grab it and ride on it and come back with it. Like it was
Yeah, that's awesome.
He said
There's
that before,
someone's-
and every time you say that to whoever, I'm like, I got to go in there and see this shit because I can't even imagine what the hell you just said.
I showed you some really cool things that day, and it's hilarious that that's the one that really stuck with you.
Yeah.
We were
It's
in
like
there
we
like,
showed
I
you
don't
the
know.
future of technology,
Yeah.
and you were into the flying Mario.
Well, first thing,
Going back to Mario 64 when you could be like, move his nose around and
Yeah.
shit.
Oh yeah,
From like,
well, right off the bat, when we got in there, he took us in his world, and he's like, just stand here, don't move. And he goes off behind a tree. And then all of a sudden, this big fucking, like, I don't know, 500-foot tall Godzilla comes around, and it's him, and he's like, "Rah!" And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. We were in there like 3 or 4 hours. Like, you did show us a lot of shit. But it was a blast.
man. What we've learned
Cool.
today is if you want to experience Neos, hit up Skiva.
Hit me
I'll
up.
show you the
I
cool
am so
stuff.
serious. I will show you the cool stuff. I will tour you around and show you why that platform is absolutely amazing. Hit me up at Skiva on Twitter.
Definitely.
Yes.
we all need to go in the meta movie, and then we all need
Oh.
to go take me a tour around Neos because I still need to. Please.
Let's 100% do that soon.
I'm up.
I would make time for that.
So
That's
do you,
wild.
I was going to be a dick and be like, all right, so you're going to do some stand-up? I'm not going to do that. But
On the spot. Say some jokes, joke man.
say
Funny
something,
man,
huh? Make me laugh. No.
Funny man.
You imagine
Dance
that
for me.
Yeah. Just being
what's
total
that?
asshats.
What's that movie with the Irish hitman?
Boondock Saints.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just flashed back to that scene with the Ron Jeremy and the mob boss going like, "Tell me a joke, funny man."
Yeah. Well, my opening line that I always do in VR in the alt space clubs, because it's sort of a blocky world for optimization's sake, is I'll come out and I'll be like, this is probably what a real comedy club looks like for someone with severe glaucoma. It's like sort of shapes and colors.
And I love your fucking avatar, too, with the hair and shit. Like, it's just perfect.
Oh, yeah. I think it captures the vibe.
Yeah.
What does his avatar? What does your avatar look like?
I will say I gave my avatar better facial hair than I can grow, but that's why it's virtual reality.
Yeah. It's hard to explain you'd have to just see it. It's pretty.
Yeah, it's funny. I made the avatar like ages ago, and I'm like, I feel like this is part of my identity now. Like I would feel weird having a different avatar there. I'd feel like I'm impersonating someone else. It's weird.
Yeah, it's crazy how your brain does that with VR stuff. Like with your avatar, like this is who I am in here, and to
Yeah, like
change it
people
to do
recognize
that.
me here. Like they won't know my username. They'll know what I look like.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I love it. I love it.
So what's one of the craziest things you've come across in making either your videos or if it's in one of your stand-ups or like just what's one of the weirdest moments you've had?
I would definitely say, and it was one of my first videos I ever did in VR chat, where I met someone who's a VR chat escort. Fascinating stuff, where I just interviewed them for like an hour. And he was telling me all about like people, you know, who are not comfortable with their sexual identity in real life or something like that will basically hire these people in VR chat to like help them explore parts of themselves that they're not comfortable sharing with physical people.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most mind-bending conversations I ever had.
That's awesome.
That, and then of course the sex rooms that you occasionally accidentally end up in accidentally in VR chat.
I get like your video. I'll put a link to it in the show notes because it's so fucking funny. When you get in there, you're like, oh, hey, I shouldn't be nearby. And the person on top turns around, like looks at you, and the guy sitting there is just like, hey.
He just gives a little wave.
It's so
And I'm
fucking
sitting
funny.
there watching these nude avatars. I literally had to pixelate it for YouTube to accept it. I'm just like, hey guys, what's going on?
Like, you couldn't have scripted that and done that if you wanted to. It was so perfect.
Yeah. That was, I think that specifically was one of my favorite moments that I've captured, where it's just like, I'm like, this is what VR chat is.
That's awesome.
Because I was expecting them to be like, oh, get out. This is weird. But they're like, oh, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, okay, this is now weird. I'm the one making this weird.
Yeah.
Got room for one more, and you're like, no.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was afraid of, is he was just going to like go from a wave to being like, come, get closer.
Pat the bed.
Yeah.
I haven't
was
been
one
in
time-
VR chat. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, and I was just going to say, there was one time, and I wish I was filming. I swear to God, it was the funniest thing that's ever happened. Is I went into a room, and that similar thing happened. But these people were like literally laying on the ground. Like you could tell, like one guy was laying on his apartment floor, and the other person was like in plank position or something. Weird. And I walked in, and at first I thought their avatars were just like glitched out, and I was a stick of butter. So it was a virtual dojo. So I'm like, oh, cool, a dojo. And I walked over, and I'll just never forget. I'm like, this must be the most amazing image ever. Is these two people having an intimate moment in VR chat, and just a stick of butter like standing, staring at them above them.
Slowly come into the bottom's frame, like.
Yeah, and then the guy noticed me, and he looked up, and I was like, oh, looks like you guys could use a stick of butter. I don't know.
You need some grease?
Yes, it's like, yeah, you know, I'm here to supply the need.
What,
So
was it
awesome.
like the photoreal stick of butter? Because if you get the right metal shader on there, like the tin wrapper could look.
Oh
It
yeah,
would have been like super photoreal butter. Like would have scared the hell out of me.
that would have been fantastic. Oh, I fell off the chair.
No.
Me
Oh,
too.
no. Right around the hour mark, things happen. So
Yeah, that's when things start to fall through. That's hilarious.
we'll move up here to the floor.
Oh, there's gum
Yeah.
down here. Just kidding.
Yeah, how did this get down? You guys got to get this thing cleaned.
Yeah. Yuck.
Oh my god.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
So reality's
Yeah.
breaking down.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
I
I've
couldn't
only
handle
been
the
in,
story.
I've only been in VR chat a handful of times, and I found a cactus wearing underwear avatar I really like. But I don't know. It just
BJ sent that in our like just random friends, like our real life friends Discord. He's like, I love this guy, and I was like, what? The underwear on it is like so like meticulously detailed. Like there's this goofy, almost like a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man looking, you know, Zelda Wind
That's
Waker
so good.
cactus, and then the underwear's got like all the little lines and shit.
yeah. But
I mean, the
I
amount of
was-
detail they put in there.
Yeah, it's insane. But I was at Techman Jew's birthday party in VR chat.
Oh, nice.
And there was a friend of a friend was in there, and he had this avatar where he was like 3 or 4, I don't remember if they were mongooses or what they were, but it was like 3, 4, or 5 of these little 4-legged animals standing on each other's back. And I hopped up on top of him and was riding him, and as he moved like this, like
I
the
can't see
stack
you.
of the animals was like going back and forth. So I was on top, like it was a teetering tower of animals. And it was so fucking funny that
That's amazing.
yeah, it was so crazy. Like who the fuck thinks this up?
Brilliant minds.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
VR
yeah.
chat has some of the most creative minds of our time.
So I don't know if I have to come up with something for when we happen in Neos and blow someone's mind with an avatar.
Yeah, I'm honestly thinking about commissioning an avatar at this point and just having that be like my new VR chat look.
That'd be pretty cool.
But it'd have to be a stick of butter.
Photoreal with a really good light shader. You know,
Yeah,
the
but
light
with
pulling
like long
everything.
hair on the top.
Long buttery hair.
Buttery hair.
That'd
I've
be
been told
awesome.
I have buttery hair.
Really?
It's a problem. I'm looking into it.
Is that a good or a bad thing? I don't know.
I mean, they seem to enjoy it. It provided lubrication. I don't know. It's always at
holy
the 1
crap.
hour mark that I start to get weird.
Yeah.
And fall through the floor.
Yeah, and fall to the floor. Falling through my seat. I'm so excited.
Well, before we wrap up, is there anything you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to, or anything like that, or?
I think we hit it. Just yeah, check out the YouTube channel Obscure Nerd VR if you want to. I'm trying to make some more unique comedic VR content because I know that there's a lot of comedy gameplay out there, which is why I try to really focus on the editing and the pacing and really coming at it from a comedic angle and how the gameplay can be enhanced. The experience of watching the gameplay can be enhanced by creating comedic moments out of it. So I hope if you're into that, you check it out. And if you're not, don't. Or I guess do dislike the videos. It doesn't matter anymore.
I agree with that because, like, I've seen some, gameplay videos that are just, I don't remember. I'm sure that they're not memorable at all. But once in a while, there's like creative gameplay moments. And I remember watching something, I think it was one of the Hitman games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the Hitman games. Some guy's playing it completely wrong because you're supposed to be stealthy and doing all this stuff. This guy's like, I can't even remember what he was doing. But he's like, shooting, picking up maybe a fire extinguisher, shooting it. It goes off like a rocket launcher and hits a guy in the face. It's like,
Yep.
I didn't even know you could do any of this stuff in the game. I don't really play them that often, but like, it was hilarious. And that's like, when I hear a gameplay video, I think of that because the comedy made it way more enjoyable than, like, I love stealth games and sneaking around. Maybe people like to watch people do that and take like 4 hours to complete a mission. Watching somebody go through and be funny, genuinely funny in it is kind of a
Yeah,
treat.
exactly.
You don't really get that a
just
lot.
finding those like honest moments of humor and highlighting that and finding an interesting way to present it, I think. Because, when it comes to gameplay, I've always just tried to think of like, what are the kind of channels that I like to watch and go back to? And that's just the kind of stuff I'm trying to create. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you guys for having me. This has been really awesome. I want more people to start embracing this like style of production. It's awesome.
It's much more dynamic than anything else. That's for sure.
You can't fall through your chair in the real reality.
You can
I don't
tip
know.
over. That's about all you got.
Yeah, for now.
I've exploded chairs before.
Oh yeah.
The last time it happened to me was during one of our roundtables. So there's like a couple devs in here, and I fell into my chair, and they're like, "What the hell are you doing, dude? You're like smelling your own fucking seat." Like,
Yeah, I
what
was
the
like, PJ, quit
and they
sniffing
wouldn't
your
leave me
chair.
alone.
Oh,
So I made it weird by sniffing their chairs, and
yeah.
we were done.
You made it normal again.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely catch your show. If you got one going on tomorrow, you'll probably see me there.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. PST. I know a couple of the guys I met at the AR house said they're going to come by too, so there should be a good
Awesome.
group of people in there.
And that'll be in VR chat.
Alt Space.
Alt
Tomorrow's
Space.
Alt Space.
Gotcha. Awesome.
I don't know how to get in there, but I'm give it a shot. It's 10 p.m. my time, but that's not anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a free app, which is nice.
Cool.
Is it easy to find once you get into alt space? Like,
Yeah, luckily, once you get in, it should be on like the main events page. Like right when you look at the main thing,
Oh.
it usually is on that first page. Failed to Render Comedy is the name of the event.
to render comedy. Awesome.
Well, listeners and watchers, you heard it here. Check out the show. I don't know if you can see me or not, but I'm looking right into the camera.
I can't see you.
I'm invisible.
We'll look in for you.
There you go. Well, thanks, Kiva, for hanging out with us. And Scared Nerd, thanks for joining us.
Yep.
It was fun.
Yeah, this is a great time. We got to do it again sometime.
Anyway,
Maybe
man.
we'll try like you can Wookie and I will write a script and you can judge which one's better and we'll do a live.
I love it. I'm in.
Write a script.
It'll be terrible.
You know
but
I'm in.
It should be good. Anything we talked about, links will be in the show notes. So hopefully we can get you a link to Obscure Nerd show and page and make it easy for you to check out.
I love you all.